Hi, I am delighted to present to you today and to discuss a topic of utmost importance in the realm of research and data analysis, and that is sampling techniques. In the world of data, where information is abundant and resources are limited, the art of sampling plays an important role in drawing meaningful insights, making informed decisions, and avoiding the pitfalls of bias and inaccuracies. And now, I will be discussing different areas that you need to know about sampling techniques, such as its definition, its significance, and the different types of sampling techniques. Sampling techniques are methods used in statistics and research to select a subset of individuals or items from a larger population. They are essential for gathering data efficiently and drawing valid conclusions. For example, imagine you're a chocolate factory manager and you want to ensure the quality of your chocolate bars. You produce thousands of chocolates every day, and it's impossible to taste each one of them for quality. Instead, you decide to use a sampling technique. Let's move on to the question, why sampling techniques are important. The significance of sampling techniques in research and statistics cannot be overstated. Here are some key points highlighting their importance. Number 1, efficiency. Sampling allows researchers to collect data from a subset of a larger population rather than studying every individual or item. This is often more practical and cost-effective, especially when dealing with large or geographically dispersed populations. Number 2, generalizability. Properly selected samples can provide accurate estimates and inferences about the entire population. This allows researchers to make conclusions based on a manageable subset of data. Number 3, resource conservation. Sampling reduces the time, effort, and resources required for data collection, making research projects feasible within budget constraints. Number 4, accuracy. When using appropriate sampling techniques, researchers can minimize bias and errors, leading to more accurate and reliable results. Number 5, diversity and representation. Sampling techniques like stratified or cluster sampling ensures that different subgroups or regions of a population are adequately represented in the sample. This enhances the validity of findings. After learning the significance of sampling technique, now I want you to know more about its forms and types. Number 1, simple random sampling. Every member of the population has an equal chance of being selected. This can be done with or without replacement. Number 2, stratified sampling. The population is divided into distinct subgroups which we call strata, and then random samples are taken from each stratum. This ensures representation from all the subgroups. Number 4, cluster sampling. The population is divided into clusters and a random selection of clusters is sampled. Then, all or a random subset of individuals within the selected clusters are included. We also have purposive sampling. In this, researchers intentionally select a specific individuals or items based on certain criteria or characteristics. This is useful for targeted research. For about systematic sampling, it is where researchers select every individual from a list or sequence. The starting point is often chosen randomly. We also got convenient sampling. Researchers choose individuals who are most convenient or readily available. This method is quick but may not be representative. For the last one, but certainly not the least, we also have snowball sampling. Common in studies involving hard-to-reach populations, one participant refers to the researchers to others, creating a snowball effect. And for our conclusion, is that the choice of sampling technique depends on the research goals, the nature of the population, available resources, and the desired level of accuracy and representation. Each method has its advantages and limitations, so researchers must carefully consider which one to use to ensure the validity of their findings. And that ends our discussion about sampling technique. I hope you learned something. Thank you. Defining the problem exactly is vital to obtain accurate data about it. It is very hard to gather data without a clear definition of the problem. The problem must be translated into specific questions or objectives and be expressed in terms of variables. As an integral part of research, these variables are subjected to measurement. I welcome you all, and we back it up again with another lesson that we are going to talk about for this video, and this is all about research measurement. Throughout this whole discussion, we are be able to learn about more of research measurement, why it is used, the general classifications of research questions based on analysis, and the types of data and measurement scales. What is research measurement? Research measurement refers to the process of systematically assigning numerical values or scores to various aspects, attributes, or characteristics in order to quantify and analyze them. It is a crucial aspect of research across various fields, as it allows researchers to collect and analyze data, test hypotheses, and draw meaningful conclusions. General classifications of research questions based on analysis. Number one, descriptive. These are research questions that ask for the profile or relevant aspects of the phenomena of interest from the respondents. Number two, comparative. These are inferential questions that ask for the difference in the characteristics of certain variables of interest between groups of respondents, usually categorized according to their profile. And lastly, we have correlational. These are questions that ask about the relationship between variables of interest in the study. When we're going to talk about types of data and measurement scales, where data are specific, observations that describe certain variables gathered on or from individuals. For instance, the data for sex of the employees could be male or female, whereas the data for grades of students in a business major course could be 88, 90, 84, and etc. These data are generally classified according to their nature as quantitative or qualitative. Moreover, data derived from various means of measurements are categorized as nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. As depicted in the diagram, data at nominal and ordinal scales are qualitative. Meanwhile, data at interval and ratio scales are quantitative. Further, the diagram illustrates that the degree of information that the scales possess increases progressively as we move from the nominal to the ratio scale. That is, information on the variables can be obtained in greater detail when we employ an interval or a ratio scale than the other two scales. And that ends our discussion about research measurement. I hope you have something to take note, and thank you for listening. Hi everyone, today I am going to excitedly introduce to you another topic about research, and that is research instrument. Brace yourself for another set of learning that we are able to experience. And here are the contents of research instrument that I want you all to know. Number one, the definition of research instrument. Number two, its significance. Number three, types of research instrument. And for number four, the conclusions. Research instruments, also known as data collection instrument or tool, is a device or technique used to gather data from individuals or sources for the purpose of conducting research or collecting information. The significance of research instruments is that these instruments are essential for obtaining the data needed to answer research questions, test hypotheses, or analyze specific aspects of a study. Research instruments can take various forms and serve different purposes depending on the research objectives. There are various types of research instruments, each suited to specific research objectives and methodologies. Here are some common types of research instruments. Number one, questionnaires. These are structured sets of questions that respondents answer. They can be administered in person, via email, online surveys, or paper forms. Questionnaires are used for collecting both quantitative and qualitative data. Number two, interviews. Researchers conduct interviews to gather information directly from participants. Interviews can be structured with predefined questions or unstructured, more open-ended discussions. They can be face-to-face, phone-based, or conducted remotely via video conferencing. Number three, surveys. Surveys are a broad category that includes questionnaires and interviews. They involve collecting data from a sample of individuals or organizations to generalize findings to a larger population. Number four, observations. Researchers observe and record behaviors, events, and phenomena. Observations can be structured with a specific criteria or unstructured that talks about capturing natural behaviors. They are often used in ethnographic and field research. And the last of our list of the common types of research instrument is test and assessment. These include standardized tests, psychological assessments, or skill assessments used to measure specific characteristics or abilities of individuals. Examples include IQ tests, personality assessments, and language proficiency tests. We should always remember that the choice of research instrument depends on the research questions, data type, research design, and the population or sample under study. Researchers must carefully design, validate, and pilot their instruments to ensure they effectively capture the desired data accurately and reliably. Additionally, ethical considerations, including informed consent and data privacy, must be addressed when using research instruments involving human participants. That ends our discussions about research instruments. I hope you learned something about the video. Thank you. Welcome back, everybody, for another topic that we're about to tackle for this video. You already heard about sampling technique, and now we're going to talk about sample size. And here are the contents that we are about to focus on this topic. First, we have definition. The next one is significance. We are also going to talk about key points. And last one is conclusion. Sample size refers to the number of individuals or observations included in a research study or survey. It's a critical aspect of research design because it can impact the validity and reliability of a study's results. The significance of sample size lies in its influence on the reliability, validity, and generalizability of research findings. Researchers must carefully consider and justify the sample size they choose based on the specific objectives and constraints of their study. At this juncture, we are going to highlight some key points of why we are using sample sizes in our research. First is we have representativeness. A larger sample size is more likely to accurately represent the characteristics of the population from which it's drawn. A small sample may not capture the diversity or nuances present in the larger group. Number two, we have statistical power. A larger sample size increases the statistical power of a study, making it more likely to detect real effects or differences if they exist. Inadequate sample sizes can lead to false negatives, where significant effects go undetected. The third one is we have precision. A larger sample size reduces the margin of error, which means that estimates and confidence intervals are more precise. This leads to a greater confidence in the results. For number four, we have stability. Larger samples tend to produce more stable and consistent results. Smaller samples can be more susceptible to the influence of outliers or random variations. And for the last one, we have ethical considerations. In some cases, it may not be able to ethical or feasible to collect data from a very large sample. Researcher must consider the ethical implications of their sample size choices. To draw a conclusion for the topic sample size, we should always remember these following things. Sample size is a critical consideration in research and data collection. The choice of an appropriate sample size should be based on statistical principles, research objectives, available resources, and ethical considerations to ensure the reliability and validity of study findings. Thank you.